Israel is a frame for the picture of God's personal love. Grace and peace, everybody. Welcome to Sabbath School Study Group. My name is Chris Bailey. We're studying a new 5-part series looking at God loving freely. But the way we get insight into how God looks at us individually is by looking at how he views us collectively. And it's that frame that each of us personally fits in. Before we go further, I want to thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. By all means, hit the like button, and making a comment actually also helps the video be seen. Beyond that, you can always go to the website. That's at changeministry.org, where you'll see this study and so many more. And we'd love to come where you are. If you want to bring change to your church, to your school, we're willing to come at our own expense, but we can only come at your invitation. One of the best books in the Bible to give context to the reality of God's love is one of the most tragic. It's the book of Hosea. Hosea, the prophet, being called to not just marry, but then to create a family with a harlot, a prostitute. But the attitude that he is called to have towards her is the exact attitude that he, God, has towards Israel. In Hosea chapter 14, verse 1, he cries out, "O Israel, return unto the Lord thy God, for thou hast fallen by thine iniquity." So he uses this term, "O Israel," whether it's the prophet Hosea, he's speaking on behalf of God. And whether it's God himself, he's speaking for himself. But nonetheless, he calls us Israel. It's interesting how God calls Israel, the people Israel, when in a lot of ways they're acting like Jacob. Jacob, remember, that name meant deceiver or supplanter. They were supplanting the promise. But he still calls him in that exalted name, that exalted title. It says a lot about what he thinks about us, even when we're not with him. Now, this Israel that he calls, here is what he is calling them to do. Verse 2, "Take with you words and turn unto the Lord. Say unto him, take away all iniquity and receive us graciously. So will we render the calves of our lips. Asher shall not save us. We will not ride upon horses, neither will we say any more to the work of our hands, ye are our gods. For in thee the fatherless findeth mercy." Beautiful call. It's a tragic prayer, I know, but there's beauty in it because he's even telling them, say these words, pray this prayer to turn to God. And when he says, when you're turning to him, two words jump out. One of those being that God is gracious, the other being that he is merciful. God's mercy in not giving us what we deserve. And then God's grace in giving us what we don't deserve. What he's telling Israel to do is exactly what he tells us to do. When I say us, I'm talking about each of us individually. So in the same way we make the choice individually, ultimately, to run from God, he's now saying, I want you to see how I view you personally, by how I'm dealing with these people, my Israel. One more verse in Hosea chapter 14, verse 4. Calling to healing, I will heal their backsliding. I will love them freely, for mine anger is turned away from him. So there's two different pronouns being used. I will love them. I will heal them. But notice what he says at the end. For mine anger is turned from him. The Lord has the ability now to see the people as people, the collective, the community, in this case, of the rebellious. But he is now saying that I see their situation as a people, but I'm going to deal with it personally. The framework, how I approach Israel, is how I reach out to each one. How I treat them is how I treat him. God loves freely, but as much as he loves freely, he loves personally. And this is one of the best frames to see that picture of how he loves you.